Ever wonder what happened to those iconic family vans, the trusty steeds of 1,000 road trips and soccer practices? Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane to celebrate the classic station wagons we all saw growing up. From the wood-paneled giants of the 60s and 70s to the more streamlined models of the 80s and 90s, these are the cars that defined a generation's childhood. Starting off with the Ford Country Squire, it is definitely an icon of the 1960s through the early 1980s. If you picture a sprawling, wood-trimmed exterior with a roof rack that looked like it could haul a small boat, that's the Country Squire. Under the hood, early 60s models, which often featured a 352 cubic inch V8 engine cranking out about 250 horsepower, had enough grunt to move roughly 4,500 pounds of family and cargo. That's crazy, isn't it? By the late 60s, many buyers stepped up to a 390 cubic inch V8, pushing closer to 300 horsepower. In terms of cost, a brand new Country Squire in 1966 started at around $3,200. Think of that as roughly $28,000 in today's money, give or take. Owners loved the smooth, torquey V8 rumble, and the ride quality was surprisingly comfortable for something that size. The Squire was built to be roomy, reliable, and unmistakably Ford, making it the go-to family haulier for decades. Ever hear the tale of the Phantom Ford wagon? Legend has it that at a major 1970s auto show, Ford gave the public a fleeting glimpse of a prototype Country Squire with front-wheel drive. The advanced design, however, proved to be too much too soon for the top brass, who reportedly shelved the project, shifting gears to its Chevy counterpart. The Chevrolet Impala wagon dominated driveways in the 1960s and early 1970s. Picture a sleek, low-slung silhouette with rounded fenders and a spacious interior. Early Impala wagons often came with a 283 cubic inch small block V8, delivering around 195 horsepower. By 1966, you could opt for a beefier 327 cubic inch V8, pumping out nearly 275 horsepower, which made merging onto highways feel sporty, even if you had 4 kids and a dog in the back. Price-wise, a new Impala wagon hovered near $2,800 to $3,000 in the mid-60s, roughly equivalent to $25,000 today. Folks loved that it blended Chevrolet's performance reputation with everyday practicality, kid seats, grocery runs, and even occasional weekend hauling. Plus, the Impala name carried weight, so owning one meant you weren't just driving a family haulier, you had a bit of Chevy swagger tucked in your driveway. Speaking of Chevrolets, the Caprice wagon carried the torch into the late 1960s and soldiered on into the early 1990s. If you think of a 70s Caprice wagon, you see a boxy, squared-off design that somehow felt both elegant and functional. Underneath that roof, a 350 cubic inch small block V8 was the most common engine in the mid-70s, producing around 170 horsepower, or closer to 200 HP in late 60s trims before emissions cut in. By the early 80s, the Caprice wagon sometimes had a 305 cubic inch V8, making around 140 horsepower, trading raw power for fuel efficiency. Back in 1975, buyers paid about $5,000 for a Caprice wagon, with top trim models inching past $6,500. For comparison, that's around $27,000 to $35,000 today. What made the Caprice special was its balance: roomy third-row seating, upscale interior options, and enough power to keep the car feeling lively on long drives. The Caprice wagon was the staple for families who wanted a little cushiony comfort with a dose of Chevy reliability. But wait, did you know there's a rumor that one Caprice wagon was used as a getaway car in an infamous bank heist? Now let's cruise north to the Oldsmobile Vista cruiser, produced between 1964 and 1977, and arguably one of the most distinctive wagons of the 60s. That bubble roof glass extension over the second row wasn't just for show. It gave passengers a panoramic view of the sky, perfect for road trips when everyone was checking out clouds or fireworks at night. Under the hood, early Vista cruisers packed Oldsmobile's 345 cubic inch rocket V8, topping out at around 275 horsepower. Jump ahead to 1967, and buyers could squeeze out nearly 300 horsepower from a 400 cubic inch V8. A brand new Vista cruiser in 1965 cost around $3,500, about $30,000 in today's terms. Despite its oddball roof, the ride was remarkably smooth, thanks to Oldsmobile's robust suspension and cushy seating. The Vista cruiser became a family favorite because it felt a bit adventurous. Kids could stretch out in the back, and parents could brag about that astronomy roof in the school pickup line. Fast forwarding to the early 90s, we meet the Buick Roadmaster estate wagon produced from 1991 to 1996. By this time, wood paneling was long gone, replaced by a sleek, monochrome exterior that still turned heads. Most Roadmaster estates came with General Motors' 5.0-liter V8, churning out around 165 horsepower and 255 left of torque, enough to tow a small boat or camper. In 1992, MSRP started around $23,000 for a base Roadmaster estate wagon, with fully loaded models pushing close to $28,000. Adjusted for inflation, that's roughly $45,000 to $55,000 in 2025 dollars. What set the Roadmaster apart was its size, nearly 18 feet long, seating up to 8 with a fold-down third row. Inside, you've got plush velour seats, optional leather, and a hefty dash filled with wood grain trim. Buyers loved that it blended classic wagon utility, big cargo area, and towing capacity with modern features like electronic climate control and available CD players. It was basically the last of its kind before SUVs took over the family market. Now let's roll back to the 60s again and talk about the Pontiac Safari. Produced mainly in the mid-60s to early 70s, the Safari was Pontiac's version of the wood-paneled dream. Think long roof lines, sweeping side glass, and distinctive chrome trim. Early Safari wagons were powered by Pontiac's 421 cubic inch V8, producing a hearty 315 horsepower. By 1968, buyers could pick a 400 cubic inch V8 with around 350 horsepower if they wanted more punch. In 1966, a base Safari wagon stickered for about $3,800, say, close to $32,000 today. The Safari nameplate came with performance hype. Pontiac's tri-power carburetor option meant 3 two-barrel carbs feeding that big V8, making it arguably one of the peppiest wagons around. Families gravitated toward the Safari because it looked more aggressive than most Woodies, with flair in the wheel wells, subtly sporty badging, and still had plenty of room for kids, luggage, and even the family dog. Running parallel to Pontiac's offering, Dodge had the Coronet wagon in its 1960s lineup. The Coronet wagon wasn't as flashy with wood grain, but it was solid, dependable, and had some muscle under the hood. Mid-decade models often had a 318 cubic inch V8, making about 230 horsepower. Bump up to a 383 cubic inch V8 and you've got closer to 290 horsepower, plenty of grunt to haul all 5 passengers and a trunk full of groceries. By 1968, the base Coronet wagon started around $3,000, a bit less than some rivals, which in today's dollars would be roughly $25,000. Parents who needed a reliable family wagon without excessive flash found the Coronet to be a smart pick. Vinyl bench seats, optional air conditioning, and a straightforward, rugged feel. It might not have been the talk of the neighborhood, but it got the job done. Safe, sturdy, and built to last. Last but certainly not least, let's head overseas to Sweden and meet the Volvo 245. Produced from 1975 to 1993, the 245 was box-shaped, understated, and worth its weight in safety ratings. Early models came with a 2.1-liter inline-4 engine, making around 97 horsepower. By the mid-80s, Volvo offered a 2.3-liter inline-4, bumping up to about 114 horsepower, paired with either a 4-speed manual or a 3-speed automatic. In 1980, a new 245 had a sticker price near $11,000, approximately $36,000 in today's money, so it wasn't cheap, but you were paying for safety and durability. Volvo's reputation for building nearly indestructible wagons made the 245 popular among families who wanted a low-key station wagon that could take years of abuse. The tall roofline, flat cargo floor, and optional roof rails meant you could pack in a week's worth of camping gear without breaking a sweat. And those square headlights and that boxy shape, instantly recognizable, even decades later. No matter which wagon your family owned, whether you remember the roar of a 390 V8 in a Ford or the gentle hum of a Volvo's 4-cylinder, you were part of a tradition that shaped how families rolled for decades. These wagons were part of weekend camping trips, holiday grocery runs, and the soundtrack of summer vacations and whatnot. So, next time you stumble upon one of these classic station wagons, maybe at a car show or in your neighbor's driveway, take a moment to appreciate where it came from. Drop your favorite wagon memory in the comments. We'd love to hear what you grew up riding in. And if you're into nostalgic rides like these, hit that subscribe button. We've got more coming your way, and while you're at it, make sure to check out our previous video as well. I'll see you in the next one.